Welcome to today's webinar. This is ins and outs of BIM 360 for Civil 3D. So as some of you have already noticed, this is kind of a old title, BIM 360, because now today's conversations is BIM Collaboration Pro, right? So a lot of the same thing is going on before and now. It's just a different name, but the process is pretty much the same. And we will hit the civil side of things in this conversation. My name is Jeff Haney. I'm a senior technical specialist here at ATG. I have 18 plus years of experience in the AEC industry, both on the reseller side and also in the industry. So did a lot of design, a lot of drafting along throughout the years. So got all that experience, and then also been with ATG since last February 2020. So today's learning objectives is just getting you familiar with BIM 360, how to use it for civil. And we're going to talk about the collaboration piece. We're going to talk about the BIM docs area, and we're going to talk about the Autodesk desktop connector. So with that, we are going to switch screens here. And throughout this conversation and stuff, if you guys have questions, please be sure to put it in the Q&A part. And but if I can, I'll get to it then. If not, I'll wait till the end and get to all the questions. So if anybody could like raise their hands, make sure they can see my screen that says Autodesk BIM 360, that would be great. Perfect, thank you. So there's a couple of things we're going to talk about, and that is you have to sign in to BIM 360, right? So in order to get the collaboration piece, in order to get to docs, you have to sign in. So, and it's the same sign in as your Autodesk account. So we'll just sign in. And now we are going to be going into our projects. I have one set up. I'm just going to show you this part here, and then I can run through how to create one here real quick in just a minute. But just wanted you to get in front of it, so we sign in, and then we got our project. So you might have heard the term hubs before. So you can have multiple hubs for working with projects. So your company might have one where it hosts all of their projects, and you might be working with a client that has a hub for their system that you might be sharing as well. So you might have a couple of different ones to log into. And that is just, you can flip between it here. So right now I'm on our ATG USA one, but if I hit change accounts, notice I have 3 different hubs that I am connected to. Now that means I have been assigned a project in one of those. And how you would know if you're assigned, of course, correspondences with primary and secondary engineering companies. Also through email, you will get email notification if you've been assigned to a project or not. So we'll just go here. And right now you can notice that there's a whole bunch of projects in here. But you could scroll through and find it, or you could actually do a search. Here's ours for this one. And right now you are noticing it goes right to project members. I'm the only one here, but here's where I can add to it. And this is kind of like the collaboration piece, right? Who do I want working with the project? Who, whatever engineers, whatever designers, drafters, they might have different responsibilities. Some might only have read-write access. Some only may have review access. So I see a coworker of mine on here. So I am going to type in Elijah and he will pull up. So if they're not in the system, this will not come up. And then if that's the case, you would type in their email address and then hit assign. So he is in here. So I'm going to hit select. And from here, I could say what company he belongs to. And then what role and what permission do I want that person to have? If he is a BIM manager, I would sign him. Pretty much he'll get all access. Civil engineer, drafter, designer. I'm just going to put drafter in this particular case. And then if I need to override, I can override from here. And that's how he would get his access to this project. So I'm just going to hit add a project. He doesn't know this, but he will get email saying he has been added to this project. And then you just click on it and you'll go straight to it. And I'm trying to pull up my email right now just so you guys can get an example of what one would look like. And it looks something like this. So welcome to whatever project it is, and then the logo of what it is and the name of the project. And you just hit go to project. And you'll go to that same screen that we had a while ago, log in, and then you're right at that level. So you're right here. And then if we need to keep adding to the project, we'll just keep listing it right here. Or let's say we want to go straight to the document management portion of it. We can click docs, and this is your folder structure. So what I tell people, clients and stuff, is whatever your folder structure is on the file server, just go ahead and use that in your BIM 360. That way it's as much apples as you can get. So there's nothing special about it, nothing that would surprise you. You already know it. So the only difference is you're going to have this plans and this projects folder. And underneath the projects folder, that's where your folder structure should be. And I just got an email a while ago about that email. As far as I know, I don't think it's an expired link. However, I wouldn't put it, if it's 30 days, just test it out. If it's not, if you can't get in, I would say let them resend it to you. But I've had one set for a while and I was still able to get into it. So hope that helps. And so as you are going through your folder structure system here, current plans would be like this is just an example that I just tossed in here, but current plans, that's where my PDF set would be if I was to have one. I just need to go to real quick and get it. But here is my CAD stuff. And then I would just go into CAD, references, and as you could see, here are some files I already have up here. And as looking at this, again, this right here that we are seeing is the docs part of it. It's now called Autodesk Docs. You might have heard the name BIM Docs. It's all the same, but this is what you're looking for. So if you're out, say in the field, maybe you're at Starbucks, whatever the case may be, or you're working from home, you can come in here and say, oh, here is this file. I just want to take a quick look at it. I don't have to have AutoCAD Civil 3D at this time. I can just preview it just by clicking on it. And I can go in, scroll out, move wherever I need to do. I can even add some text. Now this stuff here is the markup tools. That is only going to be online. If I put like a cloud right here, I am not going to see that in Civil. This is just all on visually online. We'll come back to this part here. So that is just by clicking on it. So the versionings here is, it keeps a running history of your saves, right? Or things that you've changed. So if you have a file that has, it's just blank, and then you go and you add a surface and then alignment, and you save it each time, you might have 3 versions. And you can always compare those just by going here. And you'll just click on it. You'll see a side by side. I'm actually going to go into drawings here later and make some changes for you to see, but if you wanted to compare them, it's just click on them, hit compare. And you can do 2D view. If there's layouts, you can do layouts as well. But what this is going to do is just give us that side-by-side comparison or an overlay comparison. Right now, this is an overlay look. So my version 2 is going to be red. My version 1 is going to be blue, and I can turn it on and off. So right now I have version 2 off, so I'm seeing everything in version 1. Vice versa, I'll turn version 1 off just by clicking this eye looking thing. And then I will now see version 2 stuff. And if there was any changes, I could see that right here. If I don't like the overlay part, there's one called side by side. I can click on here, this little guy down here at the bottom, and hit side by side. And now anything to the right of this line here is going to be my version 1. Anything to my left is going to be version 2. So if I drag this out, I'm seeing version 1 stuff. If I drag it all the way to the right, I'm seeing version 2. And then maybe version 2 has a little change right there. I can see it by sliding it in and out. So this is a way for me just to do a drawing compare of what's there. Then if I needed to, I can go back and say, hey, I need to get one that has a version on it. Maybe I want to go back to this one, and I can just hit copy it. I can download source file. I can even make it current if I wanted to. So if you maybe made some changes, you didn't like it, but you accidentally saved it, you can go back to a version, make it current, and you still have that running history of it. Okay, so far so good. So now we have we're seeing a lot of this document management portion of it, right? So this markups tool here, let's say we want to talk about it. Notice it's kind of grayed out. So that means there's no markups available at this point in time. Well, let's just click on it, and just for fun, I'm going to put a cloud right here. Maybe I want to call this out to somebody. And say, you know, check this for issues, whatever the case may be. So I need to hit save, and it will save that. But one important thing, again, this class is kind of ins and outs of some things. So I want to try to give you some tips as I can. Right now, if I hover over this, it is listed as private. So I am the only one that's going to see these changes if I save it right now. So let's make this public. or I shouldn't necessarily make it public because all the IT people on this list is going to freak out. I am going to put publish. So anybody who is tagged on this project will have access to my markups. So I'm going to hit publish, and then I'm going to hit save. Now this has been saved. If I come over here, notice this now is bold compared to everything else. That is an easy way for me to tell that there has been a markup made. So if I need to see that, I can just come in here, click on it. Notice there is my markups. All right, so this is good information to have. We're also going to come back here occasionally because there's going to be a chance for this to be locked here in a minute, which means somebody has it open. And you can see that from the screen. So we talked a little bit already about the collaboration piece as far as assigning the project and assigning people to it. And then we've also talked about this document management portion. Another big piece of this is the Autodesk Desktop Connector. So we would have to download that if you guys haven't already. And this is the link here that you typically would go to. You would hit download or install. And we can go ahead and install this on our computer and and get that linked. So what is happening in this particular case is, let me switch screens here. So down here at the bottom, typically with your programs and stuff, you'll see a little Autodesk Desktop Connector symbol. It's this white A looking thing. That means you have Autodesk Desktop Connector. Also, what you need to pay attention to is if I right click on it, there's going to be pending actions, refresh drives. There is even going to be an area, if you need it, to install updates. It is highly recommended to stay on the most up-to-date Autodesk Desktop Connector, as well as the most current update of Civil. Now, with that said, you need to make sure whoever is on your team is using the same Autodesk Desktop Connector. So Elijah, I said, was connected to this. So I need to make sure he is using this same build right here that's listed, build 14.8.0.1381. I need to make sure he is using that same version. Otherwise, we could potentially have issues sharing drawings. We could potentially have issues with our data shortcuts. We could potentially have issues, just getting files to work together. So we need to make sure that is always up to date. Oops, and I accidentally hit that. Let's go back to my AutoCAD screen. So now we are going to, with that Autodesk Desktop Connector installed, we also want to make sure, it has some value to it. So if we hit open our File Explorer, you're going to come in here and you're going to see Autodesk Docs. For people who were using everything but this newest version of Desktop Connector, you'd probably see BIM 360 right there. So since I have already put the latest version up, it already updated this Autodesk Docs. It put on Fusion 360 and Autodesk Drive, but it renamed BIM 360 Docs to Autodesk Docs. So that's one way of knowing that you have the latest change as of right now. So this would take you to all the hubs you're available to. And then you click on the one that you're working in. And then here is the one for this webinar. So now I am seeing all this stuff through File Explorer. So if you're used to working on the file server to get your projects and stuff, this is very familiar to you. So you just have the same process of how you would find it. And if you notice, some of this stuff is going to be the exact same that you see over here. You're going to have your name, you're going to have your status, you're going to have what version they are, and you're going to have who it's locked out by when I open the drawing. So all this stuff is the same. So let's go ahead and open up a drawing for now, right now. I have some that's already in here to use. So let's just show you a couple of things about how the desktop connector works with Civil 3D. So if I click on the start screen here, you're going to see BIM 360. This has not got changed yet in the program, but we'll hit BIM 360 and I could actually go right here and assign my project in my hub. So I can go right here. I can browse to my projects. And now I have this already path to here. So I don't necessarily have to go in here and do file and open and browse to it. If I don't want to, I can do it from right here. Just click on it and now it pops up. So I have a drawing that's open now. I can also do the same thing I always do. I can go file, open, and then I can browse to it. If you don't have this shortcut already made, some people always ask me how I get that put in there. So I just go here, grab it, and drag and drop and put it over there. And then that creates the shortcut and you can go right into BIM that way. So let me open up one more file. So now I have two files open doing two different methods. So one thing you're going to notice is, one, if it is in cloud, you're going to have this cloud looking symbol right next to it, showing that this file is on the cloud and it's available. And you're going to see that for all these files that have it. So there's the existing and there's the base file. Now, I have already passed to a data shortcut. There's nothing, there's no data shortcuts created yet for this project. When I made it, it's assigned. So let's do set working folder. I'm just going to show you how to set it here real quick. So let's just do something completely different and take it back. Try to get this so it doesn't set. Let's just go there. So now let's say we want to set our working folder. We just come in here, right click, hit set working folder, and you would browse to where that would need to be. And for me, I know that's here. And part of my folder structure system, and this is a question in the chat, did you create the shortcuts folder or was it automatically created? No, it was, I assigned a location based off my folder structure system. So how that looked originally was like this. So I just dragged and dropped my folder structure in here with no files, because you don't want no files in here when you drag and drop. So I come up over here under references. I only had this shortcuts folder in here. And then it will help make this when I hit set working folder and actually assign to it. So now so right from the get-go, there was that shortcuts area. Whenever I hit set select working folder here, notice that kind of grayed out and went away and came back. That's when it populated the rest of those folders for me. So just like you normally would if you had a folder structure that you had in place and you're setting your working folder. Now, if I'm working on a project and maybe I'm taking them back and forth, I always get in the habit of hitting the associate project to current drawing just to make sure it's related back to the same project. I will still do that, but notice whenever I opened these a while ago, it was already assigned down here. So that part was good. So as we are carrying through the workspace workflow of a project, these right here are just contours, just so you guys can see a little bit of how this works. I'm just going to create a quick surface based off of those contours. And let's add some data to that. Yeah, we'll just go with defaults. We'll put that on. That should be good. And let's see what kind of style that is using. So we have something like that for the moment. So let's just go ahead and hit save to this. And let's create our data shortcut. And let's populate that data shortcut out. So now you can see it's in our set working folder location. And let's go ahead and assign, let's go ahead and just put this into the base file. Just so you guys can see how that stuff works. It's still the same process as you normally would. You create the data shortcuts and you come in here, you create reference and you put it back in. So all this part is same as usual. And I do not have a lot of styles at the moment in this drawing, but that's all right. We'll get something to show up here. Hit save. And notice it's running through this latest version here, history. It's making sure nobody else has it checked out or there's no updates coming back in from when I last saved it. So here I have this source file and it is data shortcutted in here. And I have saved both of them. So as I saved both of them, you will notice over here, I have different versionings coming in. So version 4, version 2. Version 2 came about whenever I added that data shortcut and I hit save. And this has all those versionings from whenever I created my surface and stuff. So as you can see, things are still updating. Here it says locked out by and it's got me. So you're seeing a lot of the same thing as before. Sometimes it's good to just refresh it a little bit if you need to, so you can see it, all the different things. So here's that. Also, I want to show you the shortcuts. I put a surface in there, so now I see this. And I want to talk about this for a minute because character limits are important. So of course, way back when you had Microsoft and you had to have like the 260 some character limit. Now, not so much anymore, but you do for BIM. So if your hub is a long name, it's going to cause you some issues. Ours is ATG USA. We abbreviated that. Like if you have the project, usually a lot of companies don't call it by the names, they call it by a number or something. Just use the number and then go right into your project folder. That will help with the characters. Also, your file naming convention. Make sure it makes sense. A lot of people may just use like, you know, the project number underscore or something, and then like GRD for grading file or something like that. That is still a very good system. Just keep doing that. You just don't want to have like a whole name in here like that, because that eats up a lot of characters. And then say there's data shortcuts in that are in that file, you have to think about that as well, because if your shortcuts or your style name is, you know, really long, for like you put like the road I live on is Scarlet Quarry Circle. That's a long name, right? So if you put Scarlet Quarry Circle in here, just make sure it's still good with the characters, because it's going to add these 14-digit numbers to a lot of stuff, and that's going to cause you some issues with character spacing as well. So just remember all this stuff as far as some tips and tricks. So as I flip through, let me go back and show you how this looks on our document management portion. Now I'm just going to hit refresh. Sometimes you might see circles around here if it's still in process, but notice you have this little padlock. It's saying it's locked out by me, so you could see it on the cloud version as well. And say if you're out in the field and you're a surveyor and you're working with the points and you're putting data in, and you see one of your survey techs back in the office has got it open, you could say, hey, can you release it and let me get on my laptop and put the points in real quick, or something like that. You could do that. So I see all the different versions. So let's compare this version now. So let's go 5. We will compare versions. We'll do 5 and we'll do 2. We'll still do our 2D view, which is our model space. And again, red is version 5, blue is version 2. So basically, we know that this was just the polylines, and then we added our surface Civil 3D style from here. So we can kind of see that information right from the get-go. Okay, this has different markups. We can take them off. We notice who they're for. Maybe this is all good now, and we can accept it. We can add to it. We can even do some dimensionings if we wanted to, all right here at the same as we're moving along. So we can even put some dimensions in if we needed to. So let's go back to our CAD. Notice this is our file that we are using. Let's go back to the source drawing here real quick. And I just want to make a few changes here real quick. So let's kind of edits do I want to make? Let's just do add a point 1,000 for that area. And my stuff is behind my webinar stuff, so give me a second. Move that out. Okay, so now we are starting to modify some data through here. And it wouldn't be a webinar without a slowness of some sort. So fantastic. And let's go ahead and add another point or two. Add point, let's add one right here. I want to make it exaggerate so you guys can see it good. So I added a few things through here. Let's add one more up here. So just something to change it. Okay, so now what you're going to see is you have these in through here. Let's go ahead and hit save. And if I go back over here to my other drawing, you're going to say, hey, I still have my synchronized thing that I normally would see on the file server or someplace. So I can go ahead and hit synchronize and it will update with those changes. So as you can see, it's the same process pretty much as working on the File Explorer as it is through the cloud. The cloud just gives me the ability to work from home. It gives me the ability to work from out in the field. It gives me the ability to work from Starbucks or on the beach or something. So I can now work wherever as long as I have internet access. So this is our normal process and our workflow of working. So we just need to make sure it's on the cloud, set the working folder correctly, and bring files in. So a tip on bringing files in. So typically you would start a drawing from your template. So let's just do a drawing here. Say that's our template file. We would just save it straight into BIM at this point. So I'll just hit File, Save As. I'd browse to my location. So we'll say ATG _ I hit save. And now that is going into our cloud system. Here is our new file in our BIM 360 location. And let's see how that is looking on the cloud. So notice this is processing, and it is there and it's saved. So that is how I would put files in. If you have a file that is on a file server or on your desktop and it's got XREFs involved or it's got other files involved and it lives someplace outside of BIM, you're going to have issues with the file and with everything. It's when that file gets dragged and dropped in or it gets saved, it's going to say, I'm going to create a relative folder because I can't find data. So in this location, you'll probably see a relative data and it'll have this drawing name tied to it because it's trying to find information. So you want to make sure that whatever you are using is also in BIM. So if you have a point file that you are using, it needs to be in BIM. If you have a LiDAR cloud file or anything like that, it needs to be in BIM. If you are attaching an XREF that you got from an outside client, take that file, save it, make sure it's clean, that there's no other XREFs involved, put it in BIM, and then attach that reference to your drawing. So that is the process of a clean file structure. Now, some people want to put in their existing projects. That is a couple step process. And you can do that. Make sure, one, all the files are a relative path. All files are clean, audit all that stuff, and we'll run a connection and put it into our BIM docs, and then you can upgrade that project from a file server to BIM. And if you need help with that, please contact ATG. We will be more than glad to assist with that and go over the workflow with you. But if you're thinking about a storage solution, because this is unlimited, you can put as much projects in it as you want. InfoWorks files go in here as well. It's a very good process. There's actually a place in InfoWorks that says, do you want to put it to BIM docs? You just put it to the project and you're good. And you got all your information right there. PDFs can live in here, Word docs, Excel. I get a lot of questions about Excel because people put their tables together. Yes, you can still link those together. It's a really good system. So if you're looking for a work from home solution or even a work from the office solution, check out this cloud storage area, the BIM docs, and get with us if you need to have a demo or just go over workflow. So that is pretty much it. Let's check out some questions here real quick. Should XREFs and DREFs be moved to cloud first? For sure your XREFs, and then relink them. Your DREFs, if you already have them and you're not, say you already have an existing folder structure going on, existing project going on, and you're converting it to cloud, what I would do is I would detach the XREFs from whatever files they are, bring the projects over, and then reattach those, and then just resync up your data shortcut. That would be probably the quickest method. You would still need to look over and make sure there's no additional relative folders that have been put in, because if there is, you might have to run a relative command program, and that is also built in with these Autodesk applications. Yes, another good question is you set the working folder in Civil 3D just like you normally would, and then associate the project, associate that drawing to the project. And if once you start bouncing back and forth, you'll see that you'll have it in the cloud. So if you see this in your cloud, that means it's in the cloud. If I go over here to this drawing too, see how that icon is not there? This symbol right here would be right here by the drawing. So this tells me I might have it saved on the file server or it has not been put into the cloud. So that's a really good question. So thank you for asking. All right, I'm going to flip back over to my PowerPoint here real quick. And let's see. That is not liking my PowerPoint right now. Hold on. Let's stop sharing for a moment. All right, so we should be back to my PowerPoint now. So to help wrap things up, summary is we've touched base on the collaboration for civil. We talked about creating a project, assign team members, assign permissions, BIM docs area. This provides access to the project team no matter where they're at and whatever they're doing, and it's a cloud-based system. The Autodesk Desktop Connector you need to have, especially if you're working with civil. And this is, I should mention this. So the new topic is BIM Collaboration and BIM Collaboration Pro. You can have an Autodesk Docs. You can have Autodesk Docs. You can have BIM Collaboration. But if you don't have that Collaboration Pro, you will not be able to work with the desktop connector and also your Civil 3D data shortcuts. So that's one thing to look out for. And also that desktop connector, make sure you are on that current version because there might be some issues along the way. So, and the desktop connector connects you to the cloud to your desktop. And please be sure to subscribe to our LinkedIn and also our YouTube channel. This is a good way to get these webinars back to review. It's also, we upload a lot of good content besides webinars, such as Tech Talks, and also our blogs and our white papers. So stay in the loop by going to these links and subscribing. And I will look for additional questions. And as I'm doing that, if there is no other questions, definitely thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys spending this past hour with me. And send me an email if you guys have any questions about this, or contact ATG and ask for me, and I'll be more than glad to go over BIM for civil with you guys. So thank you, and I am looking over for questions now. Okay, if you guys have any questions, I'll stay on for a little bit longer. Thank you again. Okay, looks like there is no other questions. If you do, just raise your hand real quick and I'll stay on. But if not, I'll go. Okay, I do have one. Is that unlinking and relinking of XREF still needed in 21 or 2022? To tell you the truth, I do not know if that's still needed in 2022. The last time I tried it in 2021, it was still needed. I did just put on the new update of Desktop Connector this morning, so I have not tried it with this version. So I will try it. Do you have any strategies for backing up? Oh, I do have a strategy for that. So one of the questions is, do you have any strategies for backing up cloud-based projects to local media? Yes, and this is a pretty big one. Let me go ahead and pull it up for you. It's called Cloudsphere. And as soon as it pops up here, I will share my screen with you guys. Okay, if you guys see my website, right? So cloudsphere.com. It's a good backup system, whether you want to take it from the cloud and put it on a file explorer type system, like a file server, or if you want to take it and put it back to another cloud, such as Dropbox or something, or if you want to take it and put it on even your desktop. Check out the YouTube on it. it is really good, and it's the best price I've seen so far on something like this. And Autodesk recently has been talking about it as well. So this is a really good one. So let me put that in the chat for you guys. So you should see it in there. Let me put it on another chat area. Okay. Can ARG files be stored in the cloud as well? Actually, that is coming up quite more and more. And the quick answer for that is yes, I've seen people do that now. I have seen people starting to put their entire CAD standards list in BIM now. I've also seen it where they put it as a local deployment and they just leave it on everybody's laptops because a lot of people are going laptops now for everything. So they have their local deployment and then they reference back to that for the ARG file. But I have seen people use the ARG file on BIM. Let me see. Our firm is concerned with resilience and stabilization in case you fails in a widespread. You know, that is going down and is always a cause for concern. And of all the big companies, medium companies, and small companies that I know that are using Civil and BIM, haven't really had an issue as far as that's concerned. I have seen a company put in place if they have an issue, they have been going straight to the file explorer area in BIM, getting those drawings, working with it, and then once your availability to come back on is there, they resync that back up. So they would save over the file that was already there, relink it, and they don't lose their changes. So that is a workaround. I'm not sure how I feel about that actually. So, but I know people have used it and it seems to work. But I understand where you're coming from, and maybe with that CloudSphere, you get that backed up, you could still work with it, and then you can use the CloudSphere again and put it right back on to BIM. That I would actually feel better about that process than I would doing it just by grabbing the files and working with it. So that's a good question. Thanks. And then I have one more. Is Collaboration Pro just a new name for BIM 360 or a new product we need to download with it? So the Collaboration Pro piece is the same, basically the same as BIM 360, but having the collaboration piece assigned to it. Because if you didn't have the collaboration piece, you could not do data shortcuts. Collaboration Pro is the same thing. So you have BIM collaboration. It would give you all the docs. You can view it online. You can do all that stuff. You can even have the desktop connector, and you can even work through it that way. But if you don't have BIM Collaboration Pro, just like the design collaboration in BIM 360, you would not be able to do data shortcuts. So it's a new name, it's an upgraded name, but it's still the same process. Hold on. Sorry, I had a cough there. But I hope that answers the question. What else do we have? Is there any other questions I can help you with? And Nathaniel, if you need help with any of that stuff, just email me and I'll be more than glad to walk you through some stuff. Okay. With that, I think we are done. So if anybody has anything, just email me or get a hold of ATG and I'll be more than glad to help you. Thank you very much.